Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurame Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvada Shri Ganeshaya Namaha Om Ganganapate Namaha Om Ganganapate Namaha Om Ganganapate Namo Namaha Sarva Mangala Mangalle Shive Sarvartha Sadike Sharane Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Eva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Gunatito Aksharam Brahma Bhagavan Purushotamaha Jano Janandidam Satyam Muchyate Bhavabandhanat Om Shri Swami Narayana Namaha Shri Lakshmi Narayana Namaha Shri Nar Narayana Namaha Shri Krishna Narayana Namaha Shri Rama Narayana Namaha Shri Badri Narayana Namaha Shri Satya Narayana Namaha Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Narayanaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya Om Namah Shivaya Shri Hanumate Namaha Jai Hanuman Gyana Guna Sagar Jai Kapi Satiu Loka Ujagar Ramaduta Atulita Baladhama Anjani Putra Pavana Sutanama Shri Hanumate Namaha. Welcome to Nitya Satsang. Daily Satsang today is the 30th of January 2023. We're continuing our exploration of Shri Vivek Chudamani. And before we move forward into today's subject, I want to offer my prostrations and Danvat Pranam Ananta Koti Namaskaram to all the great sages who are present today, who have come in the past, and who are yet to come. And with that prarthana, to pray at the feet of the Supreme Parabrahma Paramatma for blessings that we may continue our journey towards enlightenment without any hindrance. With that prarthana, we have been examining the three avasthas, Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Shushupti Avastha. This is an extraordinary way to understand Vedanta. This is our experience in life. The avasthas are our experience in life, as we have stated. In each avastha, there are different kinds of experiences that are given to the experiencer by God based on the desires within the antakarana and the accumulated karma. So the accumulated karma in this Sukshma Sharira is what is present, and Bhagavan is inside the Atma. As per Shikshapatri and the teachings from Ramanuj Vedanta particularly, what you would find is that Parabrahma Paramatma is the giver of the fruit of action. So yes, we perform action. Some theories are there that the fruit comes by itself. But anyway, that's also true in some sense. But in a more Vedantic sense, or particularly from Vishishtadvaita point of view, that the giver of the fruit of action is God. The creator of the three avasthas, Jagrat, Swapna, and Shushupti, the creator of those three avasthas is Bhagavan. Now, this is interesting. Why are those three avasthas created? They are created so the Jivatma can discharge the karma and experience the fruit of the karma. Now, if you go further into this question, why is there even karma? Why is there a fruit of karma? Why all these things are there even? Right? Karma means action. We perform actions all the time. So we perform actions are of three types: physical, mental, and verbal. Man, karma, vachan. Any action we perform generates a result, a reaction, or a fruit. So we get back what we put out. That's a universal law. That's has been discovered. But why? Why does that exist? It is part of the karya of Maya. This is again part of verse number 65. Verse number 65 in Sri Vivek Chudamani is very clear that Maya karyati rohitam. Maya karyati rohitam means what? What we're looking at here is simply Maya karyam. Maya karyam ati rohitam. So Maya karya means that the effect of Maya. The karya means the activity of Maya. So Maya is in an active state while we're alive. If the Jivatma is in Mahashushupti, in the Mool Maya, without any activity, that is a dormant state of Maya. So Mahamaya can be in a unexpressed state, dormant state. That is called Samya Avastha, if I'm not mistaken. There's other technical language for that, but it is a dormant state where there's no expression, no anubhav of any kind. It is a shunya. It is like a nothing state, almost. We can say that. There's no experience for the Jivatma. Jivatma is just in the womb of Mahamaya. So Maya Karya means the active phase of Maya. Maya becomes activated. The energies within Maya become expressed. And the Jivatma, how many are there? Infinite in number, as per Ramanuj Vedanta. And Bhagavan Swaminarayan has expanded upon that. It doesn't mean there's a contradiction with Advaita as some people do. It is just another angle to look at. We'll maybe get to that in some special discussion groups, because it's a very intricate subject to kind of compare all these different Vedantic perspectives. But for our purposes here, we can understand that each Jivatma is individual. Sachin is an Atma, but Sachin's Atma or this Atma is different from somebody else's Atma, even though the substance is the same. Right? So the question becomes, well, wait a minute, why does Shankaracharya ji say that there's only one? Because when you realize the Atma, you see that you and the other are the same. That's why. You're not actually the same, but you feel you're the same because of the oneness of the substance. That's why. You know, it's an interesting thing, and that if you have 2 glasses of water, there's water in both glasses, right? But if you mix them together, where do you find the one water versus the other? You cannot. The individuality is gone. So when you mix, but when the causal body goes away, the Jivatma is merged into the Brahman. The individuality disappears. That's the Advaita Vedanta. But in Vishishta Advaita Vedanta, each Jivatma is individual, and each Jivatma has karma. And even Shankaracharya ji will admit to that also. So each Jivatma is individual, has karma, and Bhagavan is independent, Vyatirek Swarup, completely beyond Maya always. Never is entrapped in Maya or any such thing. It's not simply one is dreaming the Mahamaya like Advaita. It's not like that. In Vishishta Advaita. So there, Bhagavan is there. One of its power is Mahamaya. But Bhagavan doesn't itself go into Mahamaya and become the Jiva, as Advaita will say. So in Ramanuj Vedanta, each Jivatma is separate from Bhagavan and within the realm of Maya from time immemorial, Anadikal. That's why it's called Jeev, Ishwar, Maya. It's called this three tattvas in Ramanuj Vedanta. This is called Vishishta Advaitam. So what is the relevance here with regards to Maya Karya? It all connects very carefully. Because in our lives, we are performing karma. We ask the question, why does karma exist? Why does it exist? So from Vishishtadvaita point of view, it exists because Bhagavan, by Krupa, by Karuna, is giving the opportunity for the Jivatma to come out of Maya. Now, there's 2 ways that can happen. By force, God can take the Jivatma out of Maya and give the Jivatma mukti out of Maya. But that would be by force. That would not be by the swatantra, by the independent will of the Jivatma to come out of Maya. So that's why Bhagavan doesn't do that. Can he do it? Do it, yes. Vachanamrut mein likha hai, Bhagavan has infinite energies, but the Anyatha Kartum Shakti can be utilized to do something like this. That infinite number of Jivatma can be taken out of Mahamaya and placed into Akshara Brahma with the divine body or without even divine body, and can be taken out of Maya. And that's it. There's no Maya at all. But that would be by force. The Jivatma doesn't want that. Jivatma doesn't know what that is even. Jivatma knows the womb of Maya only. Jivatma, if it's taken by force, then that Jivatma, from a Tattvagnan point of view, that Jivatma doesn't become God. From a Tattva, God is always independent, singular. Nobody becomes God. In Vishishta Advaita, in all the other forms of Vedanta, except Advaita. Whether Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's perspective, Achinta Bheda Bhed, or even in the in the Islamic tradition, Christian tradition, Jewish tradition, nobody becomes God. The only philosophical perspective or Tattvagnan point of view where you are the supreme Parabrahma, Brahma, whatever you want to call it, that is Advaita Vedanta. No other perspective ever talks about this at all. Again, that's a matter of debate and discussion. We won't go into all that. But it's also a matter of sthiti. Sthiti ki bhi baat hai. That's another way to approach it. Right now, what we're trying to understand is ultimately the Swapna Avastha. But before we understand that even further, these ideas need to be really, really clear. That Bhagavan is the giver of the fruit of action. And that fruit of action is experienced in the Jagrat and Swapna Avastha. In this lifetime, in subsequent lifetimes, in past lives also. How many lifetimes has the Jivatma gone through? Infinite. Is the Gita saying this? Yes. I can show you scriptures, references, every statement Sachin is making is not dreaming it up like that. There is a background behind it. And if you have any questions about it, I can show you all the references and where they are, what the ideas are behind, where they came from. But for example, Bhagavan Krishna in the Gita says to Arjun, that you and I have had millions of lives and births, lives and deaths. But Bhagavan Krishna says, I remembered them all, you don't remember them all. Wo unka Bhagavan, that is his Ishwarya, that is his divinity. He knows all of them. Arjun doesn't remember all of them. So we have gone through infinite lifetimes, and the karmas that are accumulated, they produce fruit. The karmas are of three kinds: sattvic, rajasic, tamasic. Right? So there's lots of examples of this. For example, if an individual steals money from someone or steals an object, something from somebody, right? Let's say, for example, an individual goes into a grocery store and steals one of those small bag of potato chips. Maybe it costs 99 cents, let's say. Puts it in his pocket and gets away with it. There's a karma. What is the karma? Now you see what happens. The person experiences, wow, I got away with something. It's a little bit of pleasure. Brain generates a little bit of pleasure. But that experience is recorded in the Sukshma Sharira. And the person who you stole from, you're making a karmic connection with that person. So you have to pay the person back. And you may have to take a whole life, another janma, just to do that. That is the power of karma. Because to pay the price back, one has to take rebirth again. If you don't pay it back in this lifetime, it will be paid back in another lifetime. And that is just a very small example. Stealing a bag of potato chips is itself a karma that can cause rebirth. Think about that. How terrible it is. So taking something that belongs to somebody else will cause rebirth. Even if you take a flower from somebody that doesn't belong to you without their permission, it will cause rebirth. That is the power of karma and the Maya Karya that Shankaracharya Ji is talking about. That is why in Shikshapatri, Bhagavan Swaminarayan has given a very clear agnya not to take even flowers from somebody's garden without their permission. Not to take anything from anybody without their permission. The moment even one item is stolen, and if you have not returned it, or if you have not dealt with it somehow through prayashchit or however, or taken care of that karma, it will cause rebirth. That is why dharma means performing the karmas that do not cause binding. That is called dharma. Then there's adharma, dharma and adharma. Adharma is that which is not dharma. Dharma doesn't mean religious affiliation. It means righteous action, sat acharan. The activity performed in alignment with moksha, mukti, truth, God, etc. Atma and Paramatma. Otherwise, the binding is very serious. All kinds of binding is there. The amount of binding is nearly infinite. Now, If we tried to resolve one karma at a time, we would never be able to exhaust it. So what do we have to do? In the bhakti marg, in the path of devotion and upasana, it is to go with bhakti bhav at the feet of the Lord, at the feet of God, and say, I am yours. You have to bless, you please bless me and remove all of this blockage. But when we do that, when we go to the feet of God, in whichever way we go, and do a sincere prarthana, sincere bhajan bhakti, etc., sadhana, then the karmas are removed by the krupa. But if we are continuing the same activity because of ego, then the karmas accumulate again. Then sometimes people do more sadhanas to remove that. Yes, maybe they can be removed that way. But remember, we don't know how much of it is removed that way, because the ahankar wants to hang on to those things. That's why karma performed, just the most straightforward thing to do is to ask ourselves, is Bhagavan pleased with this? Is God pleased with this action? Is it the right action? Is it the action that is going to benefit others? And we have a direct indication. Once we experience disturbance inside, that means there's a problem somewhere. And then that contaminates Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha. It contaminates so many things. And most of the people in the world are trapped inside these karmic reactions. And that's why then they wind up in other yonis later on. They wind up as rabbits or trees or plants or bugs or whatever, all these other yonis. That consciousness degrades. Pigs and etc. Super vasanas, kam vasana, excessive vasanas will lead to the jivatma going into the body of a pig. Because you want that kind of experience, okay, go and have that kind of experience. That is what God says. God is not going to give you anything you don't want. But it's what we want actually, that is the question. And the problem is in the human body is that human body is not complete. Human body is that it is an animal body, but it is a body that is not just like an animal body. It is a body that has the potentiality to evolve into a dharmic state, and from there into a mukta state. From a dharmic state, from a mana, which is like a manushya, good quality manushya, to a mumukshu, to a bhakta, and then from bhakta to a mukta. Otherwise, it can go the other way also. From the human body, the person can go into the pashu yoni. And we see that. How many pashus are there? So many. So many animals are there. Those animals also have jivatma. Just like we have. It's the same kind of jivatma. It's not anything different. But it is experiencing the horrors of animal life. And it's a punishment. It is a massive punishment to go into the animal kingdom. There's nothing good about it at all. There's nothing beneficial in it. It is a jail. It is the result of karma that the jivatma has done, and then you see what happens. See the birds and the different tigers and lions and sheep and goats and horses. You know how horses, people are sitting on these horses and the punishment that they have to go through. It's all a punishment, A to Z. Punishment zone, this sansar. It's a fact. Observe carefully, you will see. Squirrels and they're searching for food continuously, afraid somebody's going to kill them. They have limited intelligence, limited buddhi. They're just in that body. That body is mechanistic. They're functioning based on that certain programming. The jivatma has to suffer. And that jivatma has to suffer until the karma is exhausted. Then Bhagavan, by Krupa, takes that jivatma into the next evolution further. See this? This one word, Maya Karya, in shlok number 65. Kitni badi baat hai. It's not a joke. This is what we can see in the sansar. Take, for example, I'll give you another example. The selling of all of these illicit drugs Overprescription that doctors are doing, who are sitting in jails right now, some of them, not all of them, just to make money. Doesn't matter how much harm comes to anybody else. Overprescribe. There are illegal drug dealers and there's legal drug dealers. All of these psychiatrists who are pushing these pills, legally. There's a legalized drug dealing. That's all it is. There's no difference really. They're legally allowed to do it, so they're not responsible. If they are truly, some of them are. If they're truly responsible, they would not be pushing that level of medication, and just to put people zoned out. Proper assessments need to be done. Proper psychotherapy needs to be given, and a limited amount of medication with proper follow-up. So much is required to be a good quality doctor. But those who are just running after money, kitna kharab karma hota hai isme. And the person has to suffer terribly later on. Sachin is not saying these things. Shankaracharya ji is saying this. Bhagwan Krishna is saying this. Ramanujacharya is saying this. Ramakrishna Paramahans is saying this. The Vedas are saying this. The Bible is saying this. The Quran is also saying it. The Quran, I just got recently a fantastic commentary on the Quran. वो भी एक अद्भुत शास्त्र है. It's not a small thing to understand these things. So Upanishads are very clear that what we are doing, if we are doing anything that is selfish oriented, where somebody else is harmed, इसमें बहुत कर्म लगता है. खराब प्रकार का कर्म लगता है. And then the Jivatma has to suffer. The fact that we don't want that to happen, इसीलिए भगवान की भक्ति, upasana, and with that awareness, jagruti, that what am I doing? Is this the right thing to do? We have the ability to decide, should I do this or should I not do this? That is called viveka. The animals don't have that. Animals are just going based on the programming. They're discharging their karma. That's it. They have no other option. We are the only ones who can decide, should I do this or should I not do this? Should I think this way? Should I not? What should I think? What should I not think? What kind of feelings should I have? This is all self-examination. It is called antardrishti, antarik vichar. This is what Shankaracharya ji is leading towards when he says, swam amalam atmatattvam. That you realize who you are, know thyself. But to know thyself, this whole layer of karmas come into the picture. I'll give you another example. Take, for example, the casinos. So how many casinos? There's Las Vegas and Atlantic City, and now they're legalized everywhere. If you go inside and you put a $5 bill inside a slot machine, and if you win $5,000, whose money is that? Let's say you never went to the casino before and you win $5,000. Whose money? We say, oh, it's the casino's money. Where did the casino get it from? From other people who've lost their money. So the pain that they have experienced, it could be hundreds of people that have lost that 5,000. That complete tracking Bhagwan has. And that you have to suffer that. So that $5,000 comes with a massive karmic price. All the pain of all of those people who've lost all that money, you have to deal with that. In this life, next lives, whenever, you have to deal with it. And plus, you are connected with all of them through karma. कभी भी मुक्ति हो सकती है इसमें से? Just winning one time at a slot machine can create hundreds of thousands of lives. Not just one life. That is a danger. You see, so because there is ahankar in that, and there's karma connected with it. You take the lottery thing. If somebody wins the lottery, and if you use that money for yourself, and if you use that money completely for the world and not for yourself, it will still have some karma associated with that, but not as much. But if you use even $1 for yourself, you are connected with all of those people who have lost their money, and you are connected karmically with them. You'll never get out of Maya. One thing taken from somebody else that doesn't belong to you creates karma, creates a bonding. And it creates rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth upon rebirth. And this is ashubh karma. This is also true with shubh karma. Shubh karma mein kya hai? Let's say Sachin says, I want to really, uh, help lots of people study the Gita. Shubh karma. Mere mein aisi ichha. It's a good ichha, right? Fine. That will lead to rebirth also. Because that is shubh. Shubh karma leads to rebirth also. Because I want to teach people Gita. I want to learn Gita and I want to teach and I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to. It's a good thing to do, of course. That is also Maya. That is the Sattvic Maya. And that leads to rebirth. Bhagwan Gita mein kya kehte hain? Shubha Shubha Parityagi. Leave the shubh and the ashubh aside and do your kriya with aham shunya bhav, with nirgun bhav. Shubh kriya hi karni hai. But with nirgun bhav, there is no karma attached. Isko kya kehte hain? It's called Brahma Swarupini Kriya. That's what Shankaracharya ji is talking about. It is where you are in the effulgence of enlightenment and performing action. Shubh and Ashubh don't touch you. Sattvagun, Rajogun, Tamogun do not touch you. The Sattvagun is a chain also. It's a chains of gold. Somebody is a great Pandit, very knowledgeable about scriptures, this and that, has a desire, I want to, teach thousands of people and have lots of shishyas and have big has very good sadvasana, wants to have lots of good things for other people. That will cause rebirth, for sure. It will cause rebirth of all kinds. It might cause hundreds of times person to be born in spiritual families, in spiritual environment. It's amazing. This is all taught in the Gita. It's taught in the commentaries of the Gita. And it's taught in many other scriptures also. So if one is aiming for enlightenment, one has to go beyond the shubh and the ashubh while performing action that is beneficial, but without me that is trying to get something from someone. See, if Sachin says, I want to teach, as an example, if Sachin says, I want to teach Vivek Chudamani, Gita, Adhyatma to 500 people, 1,000 people. That statement itself is a sattvic ahankara statement. That will cause rebirth. But so no, this is a seva that is being done for one's own development and for the world, whatever is Bhagwan ki ichha, one is unbound in that. So shubha shubha parityagi, Gita ka siddhant hai. This is Bhagavad Gita siddhant, Bhagavad Gita teaching. Ashubh ka to tyag karna hi hai, but on the shubh vasanas, you remove them also. So what is the kriya? The kriya is divya kriya. इसमें फर्क है, बहुत फर्क है. Divya kriya is beyond sattva gun. Now, somebody might say, well, how do we do that? How do we even understand that? That cannot be understood intellectually. वो जो बात है ना, वो जो दिव्य क्रिया की बात, when you are connected with Bhagwan, by the grace of Bhagwan, that divine intelligence opens to understand what is that divya kriya, and one can live that way. Until then, one continues shubh activity, but wants to be aware of the ego, the me. That me that comes inside there, that is the binding. And so that will cause rebirth. This is why the Jivatma doesn't come out of Maya. Actually, it can come out of Maya very quickly, right away. There's no time delay. It just doesn't have that dimension open beyond the ego. That's all it is. It's just a question of the me and the ego. That's all. But the rebirth problem is a phenomena that is there. It is called, even the liberated beings, very high level sages, they may have a desire, even the slightest desire that comes, that they want to teach Brahma Vidya, they cannot stand to see the suffering of the world. So they come to help come out of that. That is also Maya. They're also trapped in Maya. It's called Mahakaran Sharir. Karan Sharir, hamare, we may have Karan Sharir. These high, extremely near, super enlightened sages, they have Mahakaran Sharir. Isko kya kehte hain? Mukton ki vasna. I have sat with very evolved sages to discuss this in the past. For example, Vivekananda Swami. Vivekananda Swami had so much difficulty in his spiritual progression by seeing the poverty, the suffering, the lack of education. He was very troubled by it. They cannot stand to see these things because their sensitivity is so high. They're so close to Bhagavan that the sages, they have to evolve beyond that and still do their work in this world, recognizing that this is part of the Jivatma's process. They do their part. So Vivekananda Swami did come out of that. This is my understanding, at least. And he taught, he did his kriya, and he meditated and everything. He did what he had to do. But he was very disturbed at multiple times about the problems of the world. But eventually he had to go beyond that. Because in reality, they're just bubbles only. They're just waves on the ocean. How disturbed you're supposed to get about waves on the ocean? Now, does that mean you don't care about people or not? No, in fact, you are doing the best you can, but there's no me that is doing anything. As soon as that me comes into play, the Mahamaya catches you. It catches it catches big sages. This is the power of karma. So yes, karma performed with the sannyas vritti. This is the Gita's teaching. Karma performed without any kind of reaction to the fruit. That is sannyas. That is a definition of sannyas in the Gita. And that is liberated living. Now, such a person lives with everybody steadily, wonderfully, but is living it's a divine life. Divya Jivan hai wo. The darshan of such a person is redemptive. Redemptive meaning kalyankari. Just the presence of such a sage is redemptive. Itna power hai, itna level hai uska. That is the living, liberated being. In Vachanamrut, Bhagavan Swaminarayan mentioned such a sage should not be considered as a human being or should not be considered as a devta. Devana manushyati par, she is like God. Bhagavan saman, similar to God. That idea. So there is this kind of further development. Because the theory of karma, the way the karmas work, is it possible to bring them all to a zero? Yes. Very quickly that can happen by simply letting everything go at the feet of God. Sarva dharman paritajya mame kam sharanam braja, which is the Siddhanta in the Gita. Come to me, sharanagati, Bhagwan ki sharanagati. He says, okay, everything, because Bhagwan is in control of that. He says, I'll clear it out for you. You come to me, no problem. And that is the whole point. The essence of Adhyatma is to go to the feet of God, to go within the Swarup of Paramatma, continue satsang again and again and again. But you know how it is, right? In the state of Gujarat, there was a bhakta, very enlightened bhakta. He was called Akha Bhagat. Akha, A-K-H-A. That was his name. You probably don't know who he is. So he has written these these various statements, and in Vachanamrut, Maharaj has actually said not to read his stuff. And the reason behind that, not because he was wrong necessarily, it's because it can be misunderstood. That's why. But one of the points that he has said, in Gujarati, he said, Katha sunine futya kan, to par na thayu brahma gnan. It means, I have heard these spiritual talks to the point where my ears are blasted, and still no brahma gnan has occurred. Katha sunine futya kan, to par na thayu brahma gnan. That can be misunderstood to say, oh, you just give up the whole spiritual thing. That's not its meaning. Its meaning is that even if you're listening to spiritual talks, listening is not enough. It is a realization. It is a realization yourself. Where am I? Where am I headed? What is happening? It is a conversation with yourself. And when that conversation with yourself in the context of sadhana, bhajan, bhakti, manan, chintan, what does it do? It promotes Brahma Vidya. It promotes a tremendous amount of growth. It is an opening into moksha. Moksha dvaram apavrutam prasangam majaram pashmat manaha kavayo viduhu sa eva sadhu shukruta moksha dvara mapavrutam. The mukti ka dwar open hota hai by prasangam of the satsanga, of the great sages, of the really enlightened stage, where one evolves completely out of shubh and ashubh, out of sattva-gun, rajogun, tamogun. It evolves out of all of this. And what is the anubhav? Ananda. Divine joy, uncontaminated bliss, uncontaminated, uninterrupted, unhindered, non-fragmented, whole, purna, divine, complete, unbiased, unflinching Ananda. That is the goal. And that is actually, that Ananda is also coming from Paramatma. The Paramatma is the goal. Ananda Kanda. Kanda means the root of Ananda. Atma is the Ananda. But the Ananda, the root of the Atma is the Paramatma. Then it is a Mahagnan, Mahavairagya, Mahabhakti. Adbhut Jivane. It is the culmination of the highest possibility for human life. Human being can just be an animal, close to an animal, or even less than an animal. And human being can also be like God. Itni possibility hai from one extreme to the other. And everything in between. So we will stop here for today. We'll continue. Amazing things are coming up still. We have a lot to still talk about for the Three Avasthas. We'll keep moving ahead one step at a time. And with the prayers to Bhagwan Shankar, Devi Parvati, all the great sages, and all the great gurus, we will continue our satsang further.